In this session, we're going to give you some specific ways that you can be a servant leader in your marriage. 20 practical ideas that can help you to die to live in your marriage. We call them game changers because although most of them are very simple, living them out can make a huge difference. These are going to be very practical, and we are going to give them to you in a rapid-fire, concise style so that we can present a variety of them. But before we get started, there are two things I want you to know. First, as you'll see, there's going to be some overlap here between how you can be a servant leader to your wife and how you can be a servant leader to your kids. This volume focuses on marriage, but a lot of what we say applies to both. If you want to learn more about how authentic men approach fatherhood, check out volume 6 of 33, A Man and His Family. Another thing we want you to know that you shouldn't think of this session as a burdensome to-do list or a list of shoulds. Think of it more as a list of practical ideas that can stimulate creativity in your servant leadership and bring new life to your marriage. Okay, let's get started. 20 practical ways to be a servant leader in the real day-to-day journey of marriage. Here's the first one. Number 1, a servant leader includes his wife in envisioning the future. He doesn't just announce big decisions to his wife and family. He doesn't just come home and say, honey, we're moving. He invites her into the process, lets her know what he's thinking about the future, and draws out her input as they process the decision together. Guys, invite her into the decisions you see coming. Share with her how you feel about it and what you're thinking and why you're leaning in a particular direction. Not just what you've already decided. She's your partner. Sure, you accept responsibility to lead and initiate, but wise is the husband who invites his wife into shaping that future with him. Number 2, a servant leader accepts the responsibility of spiritual leadership in his marriage. He gets the incredible opportunity to be the pace setter and to cultivate an environment for his wife and family to grow spiritually. He sees the value of engaging in spiritual discussions, so he initiates those with his wife and kids. He makes it a priority to pray with and for his wife and kids regularly. He makes sure his family is involved in a healthy, gospel-centered church where they have authentic community. If he feels ill-equipped to lead in this area, he gets the tools and resources he needs to help him grow into a spiritual leader. He learns from other men who are doing this well and even invites one of them to mentor him in this area. He may have a lot of growing to do, but he fights the temptation to remain stuck and passive. Number 3, a servant leader is honest with his family and with himself about his own imperfections. The truth is that all of us have flaws, weaknesses, and idiosyncrasies that impact our families and impact us. Guys, we don't have to hide our flaws or try to create the illusion that we're perfect. We can take the bold, courageous leadership step of being honest with our wife, kids, and ourselves about our fears and weaknesses. Author Dan Allender says that flawed leaders are successful because they're not preoccupied with protecting their image. A limping leader is the kind of person God uses to accomplish amazing things. Admitting your weaknesses is a gift to your wife. It sets up an environment of grace for both of you and invites her to connect with you at a heart level. Number 4, a servant leader discusses the household responsibilities with his wife and makes sure they are fairly distributed. It's really easy for guys to think that the day is over once they get home from work. Whether both of you work outside the home or you're the sole breadwinner, carrying your weight at home is a breath of fresh air to your wife. Find your rhythms so that maybe you're handling some of the responsibilities together and some on your own. Either way, you're initiating. You're thinking about it. You're willing to play your part and not count on your wife to just take care of it all. Come on, man. Really? You can do more to help your wife. If you have young kids, play your part by figuring out how you can share the responsibilities of bath time, stories, bedtime routines, and many other important parenting responsibilities. Pick a half day on Saturday and tell your wife to go and do whatever she desires to do, and you'll watch the kids. Figure out the chores your wife hates and step in to help her with those. Bless your wife and your marriage by concerning yourself with household responsibilities. As one of my mentors told me, save some for home. Number 5, a servant leader seeks the consultation of his wife on all major financial decisions. As we discussed in our last session, the lack of communication around financial decisions can be one of the greatest threats to a healthy marriage. It's not a good idea to go out on your own without her knowledge and make some major financial decision that will have a big impact on your overall finances. Be sure that you're initiating discussions with your wife about major purchases and other significant financial decisions. Talk about them. Measure your financial philosophies and priorities together. Be sure you're both on the same page regarding all major financial ideas and decisions. If the two of you are struggling in this area, initiate seeking help from the abundance of resources and experts that are available. Bless your marriage by leading in this important area. Number 6, a servant leader follows through with commitments he has made to his wife. Men, the little things can make all the difference. Coming through and keeping your word to your wife is one of those things that may seem little, but actually sends a big message to her over time. That you value her and that she is more important to you than other things competing for your time. Keep your promises. Be careful not to get her hopes up about something only to squelch them later. Make it a priority to follow through. Like Jesus says, let your yes be yes. It's such a simple yet powerful way to serve your wife well. Number 7, a servant leader anticipates the different seasons of his marriage. Your marriage will change from season to season. Marriage before or without kids is one season. Marriage with one kid and then multiple kids are totally different seasons. Marriage with teenagers is another season. And marriage as empty nesters and as grandparents are yet other seasons. Each season is very different, and each transition has its own challenges and changes. In each, your wife will have different needs and wants and feelings and emotions. Great servant leaders anticipate those transitions, are sensitive to his wife's feelings, and helps her process and embrace the changes that come with them. One of the best ways to be proactive in this area is to find a mentor who is a decade or two ahead of you in life, who can offer insights on what is coming in the next season. Number 8, a servant leader manages potential distractions so that he can connect with his wife and family. You're the one who creates and cultivates an environment where your family can connect and enjoy quality time together. You're managing any potential distractions so that they don't dominate all of your free time with your wife and family. This includes all of the technology that is increasingly prevalent in all of our lives. As essential as technology is to much of our lives, a servant leader manages it well so that it doesn't sabotage our family relationships. Even as you enjoy all that technology has to offer, you're ensuring that there are times when your family unplugs and connects at a deeper level. Number 9, a servant leader makes sure that he and his wife have a will in place and have arranged a well-conceived plan in the event of his death. Even in his death, a servant leader is still leading and creating an environment where his family can flourish. For example, He has a legal will in place that directs where his money goes and how his minor children will be cared for in his absence. He has adequate insurance that can help provide for his family when he's gone. He's got a file that lists all of his financial assets and keeps it in a place where his wife can find it. And he's asked a trusted friend to step in the tragic event of his death, to come alongside his wife to help carry the burden of figuring out insurance and funeral arrangements. Even in his death, a servant leader's family is blessed by his leadership. Number 10, a servant leader develops a healthy relationship with his wife's family. He takes the initiative to get to know his in-laws and to honor them appropriately. If his in-laws live far away, a servant leader budgets money and calendars time so that he and his wife can visit them. He proactively seeks to build healthy and ongoing relationships with his in-laws. If and when any problems or conflicts or miscommunications occur, he doesn't just avoid it and go passive. He accepts the responsibility to address the situation and seek a healthy resolution. If his wife's parents are overbearing or are putting undue pressure on his wife to conform to them, he's willing to set healthy boundaries that protect his family. These are usually not very easy things to do, but when done out of love for his wife and in the right spirit, it can be a very meaningful way to serve and protect his wife. Number 11, a servant leader joins a small group of men who are dedicated to growing as husbands and fathers. We've discussed in other volumes of 33 that authentic manhood is a team sport. You need a team of men to help you. Authentic men are not lone rangers. They realize that they are broken and that life is way too tough for that. They recognize the need for teammates in their lives. They join a 33 group or some other small group of men where they can be with trusted friends, men with whom they can share the struggles and successes of their marriage, men who are striving themselves to be servant leaders, men who can share openly and honestly and can offer their own helpful insights and wisdom. Servant leaders embrace the truth of Proverbs 27:17, which says, "As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another." Number 12, a servant leader pays attention to the schedule of the home and anticipates any pressure points. He provides calendar leadership for his family, making sure his calendar and his wife's calendar are in sync. He anticipates busy seasons and major changes in his schedule and makes sure he and his wife are on the same page. In my home, my wife and I set aside time every Sunday night after the kids go down to go over our calendars for the next few weeks. We want to be sure there are no surprises and to build in time for the two of us as well as for our family. It's a special time that the two of us look forward to each week because we get to shape our schedules together. Number 13, a servant leader celebrates and praises his wife frequently and publicly. Men, this is one of those little things that can yield countless dividends in your marriage. Tell your wife verbally and specifically what you like about her, what you appreciate about her, and what you find attractive about her. Don't leave her to guess what you feel about her or just kind of hope she knows, like she's a mind reader. Express yourself. Learn to express your feelings, appreciation, and encouragement, and do it often. Brag on her publicly in front of her friends and her family. Celebrate your wife. Celebrate her accomplishments, whether they're professional or in the home. Remind her regularly that she's a big deal to you. Number 14, a servant leader encourages his wife to grow as an individual and provides time and resources for her to pursue her own interests. Wise is the husband who proactively thinks about and budgets for ways his wife can become all she was meant to be. How is your wife gifted? What are her interests or hobbies? What is she interested in? How can you encourage her to grow and flourish in a way that would encourage her? Guys, good servant leadership can help your wife blossom. That's why in Ephesians 5:29, Paul tells husbands to nourish and cherish their wives. You want her to be blown away with how you are encouraging her and loving her in this way. Number 15, a servant leader expresses his love for his wife in a variety of ways that speak specifically to her. Write her notes, buy her flowers, hold her hand in public, put your arm around her on the couch. Take a dance class with her, even if you can't dance. Go on a long walk with her. Surprise her with gifts. Learn how she likes to be loved or encouraged, and shower her with that type of love and encouragement. Number 16, a servant leader points his wife to Jesus. He realizes the best thing in the world for both he and his wife is not more money or more security or even a healthy marriage, but a deep, meaningful, growing relationship with Christ. He recognizes that Jesus can meet her deepest needs far better than he can. A husband's highest call in marriage is not to make his wife fall more in love with him, but to help her fall more in love with Jesus. Number 17, a servant leader allows his wife to influence him. According to marriage expert Dr. John Gottman, men who allow their wives to influence them have happier marriages and are less likely to divorce than men who resist their wife's influence. Yet, Gottman also notes that most men are likely to resist the influence of their spouse. Guys, God has placed your wife in a unique role in your life. She knows you better than anyone. Seek her counsel. Let her be your most trusted confidant. Accept her influence over areas where she has more expertise or experience. Trust Proverbs 27:9, which says that the sweetness of a friend comes from their earnest counsel. Number 18, a servant leader initiates family traditions around important celebrations and holidays. He recognizes and embraces the importance and significance of special moments and family memories. Authentic men start traditions for their family, whether it's Saturday night movie night, Sunday morning donuts, special vacation memories, a game night, unique holiday traditions, or whatever. Another idea is to always do something special and unique on your wife's birthday that will bless her. Serve her breakfast in bed, send her her favorite flowers, or give her a handwritten note. Her birthday is a great and natural opportunity for you to let her know how you feel about her, that she's a big deal to you. Number 19, a servant leader has learned how to be both tough and tender. Pastor John Piper puts it this way. He says that husbands are called to lead like Jesus, who is both the Lion of Judah and the Lamb of God. He was both lion-hearted and lamb-like, strong and meek, tough and tender, aggressive and responsive, bold and brokenhearted. He sets the pattern for manhood. Guys, like we learned in volume 1 of 33, authentic men develop the finesse to know when to act more like a noble king or warrior and when to act more like a lover or a friend. Authentic men aren't one-dimensional. They are multi-dimensional. They are able to move gracefully between the different phases of manhood. They can make a tough decision or change a flat tire, but also leave kind words on a Post-it note or take their wife out for a romantic night on the town. Number 20, our last one. A servant leader keeps grace at the center of his marriage. A grace-based marriage is built on the foundation that we are all broken humans in a broken world who have been shown grace and kindness by a perfect Savior, Jesus Christ. A servant leader who fosters grace in his marriage is inherently leading with humility, patience, and in light of his own shortcomings. That kind of leader creates a marriage that makes room for bad days, tough seasons, and mistakes. That kind of leader creates an environment where I'm sorry, I was wrong, and will you forgive me is the norm, not the exception. Now, those are 20 specific practical things you can do as a servant leader. If you ask me what a servant leader looked like on the ground, I'd give you that list. Thinking about all of those things can be both thrilling and intimidating. That's okay. None of us become servant leaders overnight. It's a process. So pick out a couple of things on that list that you can begin to work on. You'll never regret incorporating them into your marriage. At times, it may feel like work. It may feel like you're having to die to some of your own preferences. But I promise you that if you stay with it, you'll bless your marriage relationship and experience a fuller life that is deeply satisfying.
I think it's so important to understand that the character and quality of your marriage is not set in 3 or 4 big moments. Think about life. You only make 3 or 4 big decisions your whole life. Most of us won't be written up in history books. Several decades after we die, the people we leave behind will struggle to remember the events of our lives. You live your life in the utterly mundane. You live your life in small moments. So the character of a marriage is not set in 3 or 4 big moments. It's set in 10,000 little moments that actually are what launch this marriage in a certain trajectory. I think that gets us in big trouble because a man will say something nasty to his wife, but he'll walk down the hallway and he'll say this to himself: it was only a little moment. She knows that I love her. I want to say 2 things about that. One, if God doesn't rule the little moments of your life, He doesn't rule you because that happens to be the address where you live. And those little moments are profoundly important precisely because that's where you live. So the turn of a marriage happens in little unremarkable moments, little steps of change. So I begin to determine that in the little places where my wife asks me to do things and I say, yeah, I'll do it, and I don't, I'm going to become a trustworthy man. I'm going to follow through in those little things. If I say I'll pick up something from the store, I'm going to follow through. And as I follow through 20 times in little things, she realizes, aha, he loves me. I can trust him. I'm going to be willing to wait for her because waiting is a little gift that I can give to this woman. You know why we don't like to wait? Because waiting immediately announces to us we're not in charge. You have never gotten upset because you had to wait for you. I'm going to be willing to involve myself in the more menial task of this marriage. I want to be a help and an assistant to my wife. I want to quit complaining about things that I just need to leave alone. They're just not necessary to make battle over. That's in little moments I'm going to choose to make peace, not war. If you begin to examine your particular relationship with your particular wife, it'll be easy to identify 15 different little things that you can do in little moments that begin to change the complex of this relationship and begin to announce to this lady that you're married to, this man loves me, I can trust this man, he's serving me, I'm in. Versus thinking that you have to make some big, huge transition in your relationship. What does that do? That just defeats you. You just think, there's no way that's going to happen. That's not the way it happens. Change is seldom an event. It's most often a process of little steps. And again, Those steps are investment in God's plan for your marriage, and God will empower those steps and bless those steps by His grace. You start taking those little steps, and you watch what God will do in your marriage.
Please remember to invite a friend or a family member to join our next episode. Contact us for more information as well as the details on becoming a partner of this program. God bless you.